and they had to ruin it so people wouldn't sing along.
Welcome to the Wrestle Factor Podcast. I called it the wrong thing a second ago, but I cut it out so you can't hear it.
This isn't Wrestle Talk, but we talk about wrestling.
Exactly.
That's the tagline.
This week, podcast is done. There's nothing to talk about.
Pretty much.
Nothing really important happened on Raw or SmackDown.
How are we supposed to make an entertaining podcast about such a boring week of entertainment?
My thoughts.
Sports entertainment.
Exactly.
I
was not very sports entertained this week.
I was not sports entertained at all.
Sorry,
I feel like they were trying to do the sports and they were lacking on the entertainment.
They weren't even doing the sports. Raw had an ungodly amount of promo in it. And hardly any wrestling.
And half of that was Shane McMahon.
Yeah. Time-wise.
Yes. All-wise. It was Shane McMahon.
No,
WWE is the Shane McMahon show throughout.
Pretty much.
He is on Raw.
He's been on every pay-per-view this year.
He's been on Raw. He's been on SmackDown. He's been on the pay-per-views. I think since, what was it, Elimination Chamber? Or Fastlane.
What?
I don't think Shane McMahon's lost a match since then.
I know he's at least 3 in a row. Because he beat Miz at Mania and Money in the Bank, and then beat Roman at Super Showdown.
Yeah. So it's like...
I don't remember who he even fought against before that.
I think they won the titles at Royal Rumble. I think they lost them at Elimination Chamber. And then they challenged for him again at Fastlane.
I think you're right. Yeah, and then they lost, and that's when Shane turned on Miz.
Which, by the way, I was telling you the other night I was trying to rebook the entire women's division for the road to WrestleMania. I completely forgot that Fastlane was a thing. Like, I was thinking about it, I was like, okay,
Me too.
You got this happening at Royal Rumble, and then they go on to Elimination Chamber, and then you just got, like, that month build to Mania, and I was like, wait, is that right? And I looked back, and it was Rumble, Elimination Chamber in February, Fastlane in March, and then Mania. It was like, okay, I guess we could talk about that for a second. There's too many pay-per-views.
I was about to ask, do we need 2 shows in between the Rumble and Mania?
No.
Objectively, no.
No, we don't. We probably don't even need the show between the two.
I'm okay with 1 show in it, just to keep it like keep people guessing like how the storyline might change.
Exactly.
What I don't like is every year they book someone to win the Rumble, and then that person then has to re-earn their title shot in between then and Mania.
Pretty much.
That is bullcrap.
Because they don't know how to actually book it for that long a time, so they need that as the,
I'm pretty sure that I have said this on the podcast before, but whoever wins the Rumble needs to stay away from the champion until the build to Mania.
Pretty much.
You don't need them in, like, Becky winning the Rumble and then being involved with Ronda for, 3 months? You don't need that. Like, wait till Fastlane is over. Like, we know that she's a champion. Let her do her thing. Let her beat anyone that she faces up through Fastlane. And then she can start feuding with Ronda. Because they had to start, like... They start, like, rerunning segments after a while. And they have to, like, think of something new to keep it fresh. I'm like, I'm bored of this.
Honestly, I feel like WWE's biggest problem, like, hopefully... We're talking about it, maybe it'll get better once AEW becomes more of a thing. It's like AEW saying that they're not trying to compete with WWE, they're just being an alternative, which cool, whatever. But I think the WWE's biggest problem is that it's just too much content to make. You've got a 3-hour Raw, 2-hour SmackDown. You had Super Showdown, which you didn't need to have.
Which was, 5 hours? At least
like
4.
You have a 3-hour Raw, 2-hour SmackDown. You've now pushed pay-per-views to 4 hours. one 4-hour pay-per-view every month with like an hour or at least 2-hour long pre-show to go along with it. It's like, maybe if you guys just slow down a little bit, the product would be better. People, there'd be more people engaged with it.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's a lot of stuff that we don't want to see, and you just keep pushing more and more of it at us.
And to a small extent, I can understand, because the main roster stuff, they are trying to market it for a casual audience. There are a lot of people that just, like, they love Braun Strowman or they love Roman Reigns, and that's fine.
But you also have to think about the hardcore, fan base that you have.
Yes.
It's like you're trying to cater to the casual audience. It seems like you're catering so far. It's like
you are not
like people who like tune in at the first 10 minutes and then happen to catch a glimpse halfway through the show, because you're just running replay after replay of what happened in the same night.
I don't understand, like, not rewarding your audience that tunes in every week.
Exactly.
Because, like, I know they can book stuff really well. They just aren't. And I don't get why. It's because they have to push 5 hours of live TV and all this marketing and this and that. And what we were talking about this right before the podcast is like how they do NXT. They do 4 episodes in one sitting. Yeah. So they have to write 4 weeks of television, and each episode is only an hour.
They're at least a month in advance.
Yes.
Basically. Like, we don't know how far it's planned, but it's at least a month in advance.
And they tend to do, each NXT superstar is not typically on the show 2 weeks in a row, unless it's like they do a match and they might have like a pre-taped like promo thing or some sort of segment that plays the next week or in between matches.
It's not heavy featuring, but like...
But then you look at what main roster is doing. Like right now, they have Shane McMahon every single show in the longest segment of the night.
Pretty much.
I don't... When the amount of time that Shane McMahon is on my television in 1 week longer than the entirety of NXT, which I wouldn't be surprised if that's a fact.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. Like, come on.
There's so much more you could be doing with the show.
And I don't hate Shane. I just hate that he's on my TV all the time.
You know what would be amazing? And I feel like it could work. Pair people up and tell them to go out and have a match. Don't have any promos, don't have any talking. Just like literally like you versus you. Now go out there. And you would be surprised that you could actually have adults be able to put on, a program without having to be micromanaged by 20 different people.
Right. And I want to add 2 things to that. The first, I mentioned that I was at Raw for the Memorial show, their Memorial Day show. There was probably at least a dozen kids within a 10-foot radius of me. The kids in the front row were like pretending to wrestle each other because they were having so much fun. Just like watching. This was like during, I think, the Ricochet and Cesaro match that week. Yeah. They were like having so much fun watching the show that they wanted to do all this crap to each other at the show. Your casual fans do... Okay, they've connected this whole product in their mind to, it's wrestling. So I know that they want to see some of the wrestling. Have some more wrestling.
Pretty much.
To go on with your point.
It's amazing. You could fill a 3-hour show with a lot of wrestling.
Yes.
Like, that's the thing. You can give people more time than others. Because, because these guys deserve more time. Because they're main event or they have a championship they're going after.
Right.
And then, these people, maybe give them a little less time because they're not as good. They need to work a little bit more.
Or just do what NXT does and split them up week to week.
Actually have people on their own shows.
I don't need Shane McMahon on both shows. I don't need Elias or Drew McIntyre on both shows.
Honestly.
Dude, I was so hyped when he came back at Mania 32. That was so cool. If we can have that,
we saw him almost die.
We were there at Mania 32.
That was awesome.
If we could have that hype again, that'd be great. But that's completely died out, and it would take a long time to get it back.
Dude,
anyway,
honestly, just think about that. I'm sure the product wasn't fantastic back in the day, but I can at least look back, even like a year or so ago, and be like, man, it's really dropped.
I used to think that 2015 was like one of the worst times creatively for WWE. I would go back and watch anything from that year any day than what they have now.
I'd go back and watch the People Power era at this point.
Right. Yeah. I'm just saying this like I got back into wrestling. It was around the time of the Punk and Rock feud. Yeah. And like I was really enjoying it. Everything was great. And then, like I said, 2015, I noticed like a significant drop, like very little wrestling on all like on Raw and this and that. And I'm sorry, like it feels that way again, but now it feels worse.
Yeah,
it's almost like they didn't learn from their mistake, kind of thing. Yeah. But anyway, how I said I was going to make 2 points to what you said. The other thing kind of like just goes into another thing I want to talk about. Whenever you have someone out there go out and wrestle. Have commentary do a much better job putting it over, please.
Which they can do.
They can.
I didn't watch the UK tournament, but I've heard that people like actually enjoyed Michael Cole's commentary on it.
Whenever Michael Cole is allowed to go out there and actually comment on the wrestling and the history of the two opponents and you know how they compare to each other, he's actually not bad. But when he gets force-fed these lines in his ear...
When Vince is screaming in your ear the entire time you're trying to focus, yeah, it's going to be terrible.
And whenever he does comment on the wrestling on Raw, it's very bland.
Yes.
It's like a drop kick from Seth Rollins. Like, yeah, I could see that. I'm not dumb.
Which, like, he's play-by-play. It's understandable, but at the same time, it's like...
I always
find in false enthusiasm.
I always find myself just wishing it was Mauro Ranallo, because he is so much better.
Even then.
Well, because he, not only is he like the play-by-play, like he pulls out references from out of nowhere.
Oh, yeah.
And they're like so smooth and perfect, and they fit all the time.
Yeah.
And like his vocabulary is just over the top, where it's like, it's ridiculous, but it's entertaining.
And he's actually like excited about things.
And they did a compilation video of all of his
reactions.
Like his most enthusiastic like moments from TakeOver New Orleans.
Yeah.
It was insane because all you hear is just his commentary. You don't hear the others, and you don't see what's going on in the ring.
Yeah,
it's so good.
It's great.
But anyway,
it's like they can do a good job.
They can,
like,
but they insist on bickering.
Like there are times when Corey's putting in little tidbits. I'm like, man, that's a good point. Like giving that wrestler insight, which is why I like him there.
Right.
Like he had to retire a little early in his career, but. He gives more of the insight of, like what somebody's doing. It's like, why is he targeting that? It's like, oh,
he is good for what they used to do with JBL on commentary. Whenever someone was like, what kind of mindset do you have going into a match with like The Undertaker? And JBL gives like his experience with something like that. Corey can do that too, and he's good at that.
Which I like that, but I hated the way that Michael Cole would always set that up.
Yeah.
It's like, well, John, you faced this opponent one time 20 years ago in a house show. What did you take away from that experience? Well, beat him down, stacking him up like cordwood.
Oh, you hated that for the longest time.
Oh, it was so annoying.
Stacking him up like cornwood.
Because it was WWE's thing of trying to start a catchphrase.
That was his catchphrase, yeah.
It's almost a curse from JR. He was just so good at everything that people were like, "Oh, you gotta have something now too."
Yeah.
Yeah. It's whatever.
No, but another thing I was gonna say about commentary was just like stuff that they did on Raw this week just really bothered me, and they do this every week. First, one of two things that bothered me. The first was they had that bit with Alexa and Nikki backstage when they were talking, and Alexa called Bayley a hugger. Like she always says. Admittedly, it did sound like she said hooker a little bit.
They wouldn't say that.
But yes, they wouldn't say that. But they come back from it, and Renee goes, "Did you just call her a hooker?" And I was like, why would you ask that on TV? It's first of all, it's supposed to be like a PG show.
Yeah.
Like you're not. Why are you gonna reference a prostitute? First of all.
Yeah.
Second, like that's just I hate when they do that. When they come back and they go, "What was that?" Or this, like they make these stupid little comments about it.
After the Firefly Funhouse,
that was the other one.
Whenever they come back and Michael Cole's just like,
What
was that? It's like you've been watching this for the past 2 months.
Yeah, that was my other thing.
And you act like this is the weirdest thing you've ever seen. You've been commentating for 20 years, Michael.
You almost got molested by Heidenreich.
The Undertaker literally possessed Josh Matthews, a backstage interviewer, one time during his feud with Randy Orton. And you're telling me Bray Wyatt hitting a puppet with a giant mallet is weird.
Yes. I wrote, it's so irritating when commentary comes back after Firefly Funhouse and they just quietly ask, what was that? As if they haven't seen it 7 effing times already. This was the 8th episode and you still haven't caught on that it's kind of weird?
Yeah.
This wasn't even the weirdest one.
No.
But they do it every week. And I don't want to be that guy that just complains about everything, but they do it every week. And stop. Please stop.
It's simple. Bray Wyatt is a kid show host now who is
a psychopath.
Who has like an alter ego that he calls the Fiend. What's so
what's weird about it?
What's so difficult to get about that?
Anyway, okay, I got that out of my system. You had a thing you wanted to do this week.
Yes, I did.
What is it?
Easy. While watching Raw, and my mind wanders because I have to entertain myself.
Shade thrown. Oh.
Yeah. There was an interest being made. I think it was Hawkins and Ryder coming out for their title match. And just listening to their music, it wasn't that great.
It's not.
It's like I don't think it was Kurt Hawkins' music. It definitely wasn't Zack Ryder's music. But it just made me think.
I will say though, not to interrupt you or anything. When Zack Ryder had his old theme song, like the radio, whatever the words were, and it was super poppy and everything like that, and I hated it. I tweeted about it, and I was like, "This is stupid. I could take it more seriously if you changed the music." Next week it was different. So I was like, "Hey, I felt maybe I had an influence on that. I don't know. Probably not.
Yeah, probably not. It's probably been going on for months. But
anyway,
listening to it, and I'm just like, these guys are the tag team champions, but nobody cares whatsoever.
I didn't care.
And I honestly, I know it's not all of it, but the music is very important, at least to me in wrestling. It's essentially,
I would agree.
It's essentially your first impression. Before you see anything, before you say anything, the music comes in.
Yeah.
It's Stone Cold's glass shattering and the all that.
Or The Rock, if you smell.
Yeah,
you know who it is immediately.
It's just that driving, force behind an entrance that, makes you get behind somebody or
it helps make it larger than life. Yeah.
Or boo somebody or cheer them. And it's whatever.
And half the time when someone's music hits, I don't know who it is anymore.
Cesaro, best example. His new entrance music, finally.
Much better than his old stuff.
Finally, it feels like it fits him.
Yeah.
I can't exactly describe Cesaro. I've never really been 100% with him, but I recognize that he's good. I recognize that he's a good wrestler, and he can put on a great match. But I've never really gotten who he is.
Yeah. He's never really had a character.
Well,
more like they just kind of stuck him with a nickname or two.
He's tried some stuff. He tried the 5 languages. He tried being a real American. Tried being a Paul Heyman guy. He was in the bar. He's tried a whole bunch of stuff.
Which, to be fair, that never really worked out for anyone that wasn't Punk or Lesnar.
Whenever they actually made a Paul Heyman guy a thing, that's when it stopped becoming a thing. Whenever WWE made a thing, it stopped becoming a thing.
I will say, I think it was while he was a Paul Heyman guy. He had a promo against John Cena, and he was like, "Where'd you buy those shoes? At Kmart?"
But I think in that same promo, he also flubbed, so I was like, oh, cool.
Yeah, I will remember the 4 ropes line he said.
Yeah. It was there's
between these 4 ropes.
There's 4 sides.
4 sides.
Yeah.
You big dummy.
But yeah, music, I feel, is very important.
I keep bumping the wire to my microphone. I have to keep making sure that it doesn't disconnect and stop recording.
But yeah, just whenever they're making their entrance, I was listening to it, I was like, this just isn't good.
No.
You know, there's a lot of people that...
I kind of thought that too, though. It's like, I know this isn't Zack Ryder's music, but I don't know if this is Kurt Hawkins' music.
Yeah. Or like whenever somebody gets like a character change, or whenever somebody debuts and their music hits, and then they come out and is like, this doesn't really mix. Like when Big Cass went to a single star, and he comes out to like dubstep or whatever, it's like, this does not mix.
It's because they probably they have like a set amount that they pay CFO money to just like make a song that someone can use as an entrance. Just a generic like wrestler entrance, make it, we'll give it to him.
It's a song I haven't heard in a while, but when we were at Money in the Bank and Mike and Maria Kanellis came out to, what is it, like Power of Love or something?
True Love or something like that.
Yeah. That is great music.
I love that opening riff.
Exactly. And it works.
I know who it is.
Perfect.
Yes. You know? It's a song about their character and their gimmick.
Or like Finn Balor's like, epic.
His demon thing where it's like, dun, 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 dun.
Yes, starting out real gritty and then it gets to the, for whenever he does the stance, like perfect. Or Shinsuke's music. You know? Before he became heel,
We went to Money in the Bank 2017, and his entrance got cut short. We never got to do that.
Yeah. Then whenever he comes out, like halfway through the match, the entire crowd's just doing this.
They do it anyway.
But that shows you, like, people love the music.
So
whenever Shinsei, finishes his entrance, and then they cut the music, the crowd's still singing it. Like that's how much they care about it.
Sami Zayn's too.
Yeah. Like getting the crowd into it, or just having such fitting music with your entrance, it's great.
And you can really tell like who they like really took an effort like making their music for and who they really didn't. Like Aleister Black has got great music. Ricochet has great music.
Minus the sound effects.
Becky Lynch, you can sing along with that. It's great. Like
I feel like the best music is one where whenever people hear it, like depending on whether you're a good guy or a bad guy, like no matter what, it's good.
Yeah.
Like whenever people hear it, they'll cheer, or whenever they hear it, they'll boo.
Yeah.
I think that's good music.
And I really like characters when they have different music for babyface and heel.
Yeah.
Depending. Well, even if it's not like the greatest theme I've ever heard, like I prefer like different music, to be honest, because it's like you're revamping the character a little bit. Like just go ahead and change everything.
Yeah.
There are some instances where like I don't care, like CM Punk, like Cult of Personality works for him either way. Perfect. Great song.
I liked his first entrance, but Cult of Personality definitely works better.
Yeah.
Especially with the Summer of Punk thing.
That's also like a rare instance where like they got someone that like was not like Jim Johnston or CFO money to make the music. Like
like just using.
They use Kill Switch Engaged and then Living Color.
Yeah.
So like they had these other like they've done that before. Obviously, Edge had Alter Bridge for his.
He had Rob Zombie before that.
Yeah. Too. Stone Cold Steve Austin, Disturbed originally did his music. Not originally, but the first like Glass Shatter one, Disturbed did it.
Ronda Rousey having Joan Jett and the Blackhearts.
Yeah.
As,
well, to be fair, wasn't that also her entrance in MMA?
Probably, but at the same time, I don't know. Entrances aren't. I don't think they're big of a thing in UFC.
Not really. It's more like just play a song so they can walk down to the ring.
It's like, this song.
Octagon, sorry.
Yeah, this song's gonna play one time, like every 6 months. So we'll pay the rights for that.
We'll pay the rights to just have the song.
Versus WWE, where it's like, okay, you're gonna hear this on Raw, maybe on SmackDown, on house shows, on pay-per-views. Like, it's probably gonna be on DVDs.
Yeah.
And everything. So it's like we gotta pay for that. So, I see why they prefer to make their own music, but still, it's a very, very, very.
Because
also on the opposite end of that, I loved whenever we were at Takeover New Orleans and Tommaso Ciampa came out to no music, just a chorus of boos, and it was
boos. They chanted a-hole, they chanted "F-U Ciampa." Anything.
Which I don't watch NXT on a weekly basis, which I really should.
You should. It's so great.
But even with that, I still love the Takeover shows, especially that one. Like, I didn't really get to see much of the build-up, for the Ciampa Gargano match. But whenever he's coming out and people are that against him, it's like, okay, maybe he deserves this.
Yeah.
But also the fact that he could do that.
Do you realize how much
Whenever R-Truth tried to do that in 2011, like just doing the crazy bit, and he came out to no music, like it didn't work as well.
Little Jimmy.
Yeah.
Oh, I hated that.
Oh, well, Lil Jimmy loves John Cena, so, you know, everybody's going to go for John Cena. Nobody likes R-Truth. And so he would come out to no music. It's like, it just doesn't work.
Do you realize how much you have to do to get the crowd to chant F you?
You have to be Tommaso
They
Ciampa.
did it to Cena in ECW. They did it to Tommaso Ciampa at TakeOver. And they did it to Roman Reigns after he beat The Undertaker.
Yeah.
You...
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
So, I don't think we ever actually got to your question.
The main question was, how important is music?
Like entrance music. I think it is incredibly important.
Yes.
Not in just the obvious sense, too, of like, you wouldn't expect Drew McIntyre to come out to Justin Bieber or anything.
No.
But also, like, you have to have music that definitely fits the character.
Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins are my greatest examples. Like,
Kevin Owens, his, oh my, oof. Yeah, it's so good.
And then, you know, Seth Rollins.
I love Seth Rollins. He's like my favorite.
Just drive. Even his NXT theme is pretty good.
Yeah, I'd have to go back and listen to it, but it was I have his DVD and they have some of his FCW matches on there. The music was great too.
But you know, also on top of that, whenever they pick a theme song for a takeover or a pay-per-view, WWE has terrible choice.
The main roster has god awful choice.
Ruthless Aggression era had some of the best theme songs and probably influenced our music.
Back
choices.
when it was Drowning Pool, Disturbed, Motorhead, Saliva.
Yeah.
Batista's theme, that's like my... Okay, Batista and Triple H, like their themes had some like the best guitar riffs I've ever heard.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty much.
Well, the yeah part went longer than that.
Yeah. that's my amount of effort for that. Yeah.
Have you seen that video of Xavier singing Batista's theme at Mania?
Oh yeah.
We're just backstage,
going
like going, yeah. So good. Okay, so we're closing on half an hour. So we had. Actually, do you want to go ahead and just do the points? We had a couple other things to talk about real quick, but maybe we should go ahead and do the points.
Oh yeah, we'll try and keep this chain of good stuff going.
Okay.
Because we were dogging for a while.
Yeah.
But
sorry we didn't really talk about too much pertaining to what actually happened this week, but it was just too boring.
I mean, I didn't watch Super Showdown, so I can't really say anything.
Like, what else can I really say about the booking? Like, it's just...
There were two, like, 50-year-old guys out in the middle of the Saudi desert having a match.
In a real feel of 101 degrees.
Yeah. like that was the thing. It's like, you know, they're young guys that could probably take that, but, like, you got The Undertaker and Goldberg out there.
And,
it's like, ugh.
Taker almost broke Goldberg's neck. Goldberg almost broke Taker's neck. Taker was visibly upset after the match, so...
It's just like I told you before the podcast. Like, in my mind, Taker retired at WrestleMania 33. And in that same vein, Shawn Michaels retired at WrestleMania 26.
Here's the thing, though.
If I never watch it, it never happens.
I love The Undertaker and everything. Like, I love his entrance and his character and his mystique and everything like that. But I have officially reached that point where he needs to just be done.
Yeah.
Let him retire in peace so he doesn't need a second hip surgery. Just let him be Mark Calloway.
Just let him go do his thing.
Yes.
They should have just let him go to Starcast, honestly.
But it's not entirely WWE's fault because Taker still accepts the paycheck.
True.
I'm pretty sure that if he went to Vince and said, I'm done, I'll do one more Mania match, and then I'm done, I'm pretty sure Vince couldn't do a thing about it if he wanted to.
You know what the funny thing is? Watching, the back catalog of WWE stuff, he considered like retiring back around 2003.
Really?
Yeah, whenever he was doing his American Badass character, like he considered it because he'd been in WWE for over a decade by that point at least.
Yeah.
So it's like, but just to think, WWE is he's been with them for like a quarter of a century, and yet the money that they're willing to throw at him to have him appear at this show, it must be an ungodly amount.
There is no way that he's short on money by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, and
no
that's
way.
The thing too. It's like, he's obviously well off. He's been a top guy for over 2 decades.
Yes.
Probably sold plenty of money, or
plenty of tickets.
Sold plenty of money, plenty of tickets.
He could probably sell you money and make more in the process.
Exactly. He can sell some of that Saudi money. But he sold plenty of tickets, plenty of merchandise over the years. Like, he is fine.
Yeah.
If anything, that money is just going to go towards hospital bills now. But I don't know. I think Vince has gotten a little too greedy.
Yeah.
And now they're stuck with this for another 8.5 years or so.
Yep. It's gonna get real tiring by the year 2028.
Yeah.
I get real sick of it. Anyway, on to the points for this week. As always, going to run off the top 15. There's a few people that are really close to being in the top 15, but they're like a point or two off. But top 15, here we go. 4-way tie, actually, for 12th. We have Dash Wilder, Finn Balor, Scott Dawson, and Xavier Woods all sitting at 50 points. 50 points! Woo! They all made it to the Big 5-0.
Top 15 are 50 or above.
Yeah. 2-way tie for 10th place, Baron Corbin and Lars Sullivan with 56. Lars Sullivan more than doubled his score this week by technically winning 2 3-on-1 handicap matches.
Technically.
One of which was on pay-per-view.
So
that gave him a lot of points.
You are technically correct. The best kind of correct.
Yes. Tied for 8th, Drew McIntyre and Elias with 59. Roman Reigns is in 7th with 79. Bayley's at 6th with 86. Shane McMahon is in 5th with 88. R-Truth is in 4th with 89 points. R-Truth is in 4th.
We're the only way a top 5 can include R-Truth and Shane McMahon.
Seth Rollins, I don't know if he was already at number 3 last week. I think he was, but glad to see him finally back up near the top because he was getting close to falling out there for a while.
Yeah, he finally had a match.
Yeah.
I think that was it.
Seth Rollins, 3rd place with 108. About to pass Becky Lynch, who is at 2nd with 111 points.
Not bad. But
And, of course, still in the lead and widening that gap is Kofi Kingston with 180 points. For you, though, it's 151.
Unfortunately, yes. Because of the money in the bank.
Even with that, 40 points above Becky, despite Becky holding 2 belts for over a month.
She held 2 belts for over a month, but all she did was promos.
Yeah, that's...
Kofi was doing promos and matches on, every show.
Yeah. Which there was a week where he also, he had, 2 matches in the same week, right? One of which was a title defense.
Something like that. I don't know.
So, yeah, he got a lot of points, but... overall roster scores, Jay has 941, and I have broken into the thousands, baby.
Boo.
1,006 points. I don't know what I'm doing with my arms. You can't see what I'm doing, but
I can see it's.
I'm making the touchdown sign that a referee would do. I was almost 100 points ahead of you. Now I'm down to 65, which still got a comfortable lead here, but can still beat me.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be a tough one. Because, speaking
bold strategy, Colin. Let's see how it plays out for him.
Because speaking of the league, we've talked it over. Obviously, we brought it up last week that, we're just kind of finding it difficult to try and, award points, how we have everything set up, now.
On a show that we have a hard time enjoying anyway.
Exactly.
But having to write down notes and give points to everyone and figure out who was supposed to get which points on some instances.
Yeah.
It's making it less fun.
Like frying our brains, having to, just be so focused to this product for the entirety of it. So, I think we've decided that season 1 is going to end a little early. And Stomping Ground.
Stomping Grounds is going to be the last show for season 1.
Yep.
Our traditional predictions, which we are going to do Stomping Grounds predictions, and that will play into the points, but it's just going to be whoever wins the predictions is just going to be awarded points, because how it normally is whoever wins gets a choice of either getting points or negating some, like a member of the other roster's points for the following week. We're just, obviously, if we're not going to continue past Stomping Grounds, we're not going to have that rule.
Yeah.
But yeah, the season 1 is ending at Stomping Grounds. That will be the last show.
We're gonna take a little time off after that.
We're gonna take time off up through SummerSlam.
Yeah, approximately 7 weeks off for SummerSlam.
We haven't decided if SummerSlam will be the first show of the next season, or if the Raw and SmackDown after will start it. Yeah. But we will decide that. We're still coming up with ways to change the rules, make it a lot simpler. Other people can join in if they want.
Yeah.
We just got some ideas floating around, and we got about 6 weeks to figure it out and get it fleshed out and practiced. But it probably won't be perfect still. But
no, but it'll be more entertaining, at least for us. Not having to follow everything so strictly.
Well, because it's gotten to the point where like this week we didn't hardly talk about anything that happened this week.
Exactly.
It was another episode of us venting our frustrations.
Which pretty much is what the show will be for next 2 months or so.
Next 6 weeks or so. That was hard to say.
Hopefully not so much next week, because we got the go home shows and then Stomping Ground. So
we only got 3 more shows to do points for.
Exactly.
But I just want to get back to just enjoying the show.
Yeah.
Even if I just got to be well, this person won or this person won. It's that's not really much to do, but
just running down the show, out of boredom. It's no, we don't want to do that. We enjoy wrestling. We enjoy, all aspects of it.
Yeah.
By the fact that we, rambled on for about 15 minutes just about music.
Yeah.
So it's we want to review a show that's entertaining.
Right.
So.
Or we can find the upside in it at least.
Yeah.
But now that we have this cool, nifty question of the week thing that we can do.
Question of the week?
That's...
Oh, God, are we making this a thing now?
It doesn't have to be every week, but...
It'd
be cool.
I like it, but, now I'm actually going to have to do something every week.
Well, I know we had one point talked about doing a video that's just dedicated to, a certain topic. Who is the best at drop kicks? I don't know, but... Yeah. Maybe we can just make some of these questions something we can just think about on the spot for 10 minutes or so.
Yeah.
Just make it part of the podcast and make it more fun. On top of talking about what happened during the week. So.
Which, hopefully once season 1 ends and we won't be focusing on, points really. We'll just be focusing on getting a new system in place. We'll try and get some other content out in that time.
It's just really hard to find time to do it because...
this is a passion project right now.
It is. It's stuff that we have to do on our free time in between our schedules because we both work full time.
Yeah. It's having to keep up with everything WWE and, the big stuff and other wrestling promotions and then, trying to get together to record this.
Right. And also, I have other hobbies that I like to do. I have 2 other channels that I'm still trying to, pretty much get launched.
Yeah.
Personal stuff of mine. And also maintain, my personal life and relationships and stuff.
Yeah.
And if I set too much time into one thing, I get very burnt out very fast.
Exactly.
So I do I still have things that I do that's just a hobby. It's something that I don't ever expect it to like make me money or whatever. It's just for fun, something that I can just relax and do. Making videos is still work.
Yeah.
Especially something where it's like you have to do a lot of research. You still have to like make a script. You have to set up the whole thing and record it and then edit it and do all this and that. It's a lot to do.
It's very time consuming.
It is.
That's why it's difficult to make that transition to try and make that your full-time job, which luckily is something you can do nowadays.
It is. And hopefully that will be, but we still have to get there.
But, you know, it's time consuming to make it, and it's also time consuming for, you know, you to get to that point where that's all you do.
Which I will say, the room that we record in has a nice new like black backdrop that we could do for videos.
Yeah. Working on a set.
Working on a little bit of a set. It's nothing expensive, but some cheap lighting stuff that I've made myself, and you know, we have like the basic stuff. We can make videos. We've already done a couple of videos.
Yeah.
But just basic stuff. We'll have another one for the Stomping Grounds predictions next week. But yeah, just stuff that we're working on right now.
Yeah.
So, anything else you want to mention before we take off?
You gonna check out Fyter Fest? AEW show?
Probably not.
It's for free.
Where's it at? Like, I mean, like, where can I watch it or something?
I believe it's on. I believe one of the ways is Bleacher Report Live. So
okay.
So
free. I'll have to look into it. Just
free app.
That's
free
another
show.
thing. Is it's like I already watch 6 hours of WWE television a week, and that's the bulk of my television. Anything else that I watch is like I have like YouTube videos going while I'm doing something else. So WWE is like the TV that I like focus on. And so sometimes it's nothing against other promotions. Like I don't want to have to go learn about other people.
I don't know. I'm enjoying it. I'll just say that. Between the Road to Double or Nothing, actually watching Double or Nothing, and just seeing the crowd enjoy themselves. I think that's the main thing. Is like people there actually want to be there. You know, whenever somebody is there for Raw or SmackDown, it's like at first they're very excited, and then the show is almost over, and they're like, "Man, we paid for this."
Yeah,
almost.
I kind of felt that way at Raw.
But watching Double or Nothing, and people were just out of their seats pretty much almost the entire show.
That's how it is at a takeover too.
And it's so entertaining. Like, obviously, there's a lot of people you don't know. It's a newer company. It's a lot of indie people, or just people from all around the world. So yeah, it is learning about a lot of people, which is kind of what they're going through right now. They don't have weekly TV. They're trying to completely flesh out a roster. But at the same time, they'll have promo packages, tell you all about who these people are, why they're facing each other. It's interesting. Plus, Road to Double or Nothing, or now Road to Fyter Fest. Entertaining. Like, episodes are less than 10 minutes, and they tell you all about, the wrestlers.
Yeah. I might have to pop in and start watching that. So
yeah.
All right. Well, that's all we got time for. It went a little longer than normal. Whatever.
Yeah. Who cares?
Nah. As I always say, no one's listening anyway.
Just the one comment.
It's just
listening.
It's just that I have to go back and listen to the whole thing and cut out crap that I don't want to be in it. But actually, we did get comments in the last 2 videos, but they were from the same person, and I think they were automated. So it was like, great stuff, keep up the good work. And I'm like, did you...
Thanks, YouTube bot.
Yeah, it was... I would have to look at who it was, but...
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure they didn't actually listen to it, but... Yeah. Anyway, that's all we got time for. So make sure you hit subscribe, because this is great stuff. It's quality content, man. You're missing out.
I mean, even if you don't like it, if you just see it, just tell your friends about it. Like,
yeah.
Anybody who likes wrestling, like, there's got to be somebody out there that wants to listen to us talking.
Yeah. Maybe we are projecting the feelings that you have about the WWE, and we're actually like putting it on a medium that you want to listen to.
Exactly.
Maybe.
Maybe.
So spread the word, man.
Maybe.
Do something. Share it. Whatever you got to do.
the wrestling world is ever growing, and so
it's getting much more popular.
The wrestling community grows along with it.
Yes.
And if we can be a part of that growth, that'd be fantastic.
That would be great. So, all right, that's all we got time for. So we'll see you next week. Peace.